Hey, church family, and welcome back. Paul and I are here for our Ephesians chapter 5 recap.
Woo.
So we've been in Ephesians now for this whole year, and we are coming to the end of it.
It's not quite a whole year yet.
No, so far, I mean, this whole year up to this point, I think the people were tracking with what I was saying. But anyway, thanks for coming to do our Chapter 5 recap. So if you've missed some weeks or if you're just kind of jumping in with us, use these videos just to kind of help renew your thinking and bring you back into kind of where we are as a church as we are walking according to the calling that is ours in Christ. So, Paul, just a couple of quick questions for you. As one of our pastors coming out of Ephesians chapter 5, we've been in it for several weeks. There's a lot that we could say, but if you could just give us kind of one primary thing, what is the one thing that you hope our church would know from Ephesians 5?
Yeah, I mean, there's, like you said, there's so much that we can talk about. I think for me that walking in his likeness, we've talked about that a lot, walk in a manner worthy of the calling, which is in the likeness of Jesus Christ, being an imitator.
Yeah.
Walking in likeness requires effort. And so there's no walking, becoming an imitator of God like a little child, walking in the love of Jesus Christ displayed through the cross without intentional effort. We're not going to just kind of drift our way into Christ likeness. We're not going to drift our way into building up other people. We're not going to drift our way into better marriages or better parenting, all those kinds of things. It's this make every effort that we've seen throughout Ephesians, but is specifically played out in our walk in love as Christ loved us. The way Jesus loved us wasn't random, it wasn't unintentional, it wasn't passive. And so as we try to grow in these things, I just think that becoming more like Jesus in the way that we walk requires a more intentional pursuit.
Yeah, that's good. So then the next question is going to be really similar to that, and that is then, with that in mind, what is one way that you hope our people would grow and be changed because of what we've learned from Ephesians 5?
Yeah, for me, one of the big ones, this was one of the big ideas I talked about for 2 weeks, was thinking about how walking in love reframes our relationships. So if we're called to be intentional, if we're called to imitate Jesus like a little child imitates their parent, that should change the way I view my marriage. That should change the way I view my parenting. That should change the way I view my vocation. That should change the way that we interact as brothers and sisters in Christ, because I'm trying to love others like Christ first loved me. So it's not just getting through my day, it's not just getting through my job, it's not just doing my best to be a good Christian. No, it is reflecting the love of Christ in every single relationship that God has placed me in. And the primary ones are vocation and marriage and family. And even when you think about Ephesians, and Mike might get into this more in Ephesians 6, like Greco-Roman culture, it's not just the nuclear family we think about in the West. So it's not just mom and dad and 2 kids. Yeah. They live together in families, grandparents, children, grandchildren, servants. And so it's this massive community. And so the love of Jesus is meant to get played out there. And every single image bearer that you come in contact with is an opportunity to walk in love. Yeah. So I just hope it begins to shift the way we view one another.
That's good. And I like how you said it, like as you're preaching, is that it reframes our relationships. And so the way that we see people, the way that we think about them is not for us and what we can get, what they bring to us, to our lives, but how we can sacrifice for them. So right. I love that. Look ahead for us a little bit coming into chapter 6. What's one thing that you're looking forward to?
Sure. Again, there's a lot in chapter 6. One of the big ones for me is this call to stand firm in the things that we've learned and seen in Ephesians 1 through 5, because we're in a spiritual battle. Like, it's so easy to get into this mentality of just trying to win the day or make it through life or trying to advance this thing or that thing. And what we're going to see in Ephesians 6 is not just other relationships we're called to walk and love in, but that we're in a spiritual conflict, like the powers, the principalities of darkness. God's equipped us with what we need, but we're in a war. And so to have that kind of eternal mentality that says, there's a battle going on for the souls around me, for my own love and pursuit of Jesus, and I'm called to be on the offensive in that. And so I just look forward to us diving more into what that looks like.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I'm excited for it. I hope you are too. Keep reading, studying, leaning in with us, and being a doer of the word. And keep talking about these things with your families, with your groups, and purposing to build one another up to Christ likeness.